Happy New Year, everyone. It's Bobby D with the Heart of the Gala podcast and Inspire Hearts Fundraising. And I'm so excited to be here. This is our first episode of our newest season here in 2024. I hope you all had a wonderful New Year's and were able to celebrate all of that happened in 2023 and now are like us looking forward into 2024. We have a tagline this year talking about raising more in 24. And we want to help you with that today, talking here on the podcast about future predictions of what we're going to see in 2024. But before we dive into that, we want to chat a little bit about what we learned in 2023. Well, some of the things that we did learn were that donors are being a bit more selective with the events that they're going to. Pre-pandemic, it felt like they were going to every event that they got invited to. And then now here, a couple of years post-years pandemic, they're starting to be a bit more selective. Well, no, actually, they are being very selective about the events that they're going to. They're not going to boring events anymore. They're like, nope, I'm out of that. They're not going to events where they don't know anyone or don't have the direct connection to the cause. But the events that are doing a great job to bring in the right people into the room are breaking fundraising goals. They love it. So those are the donors that are starting to be, again, selective of which events they're going to. And it's the ones that are exciting, the ones that are inspiring, the ones that taste good, look good, feel good. That's where they were going in 2023. We also saw an evolution of the special appeal, the paddle raise. We actually just did a webinar a couple weeks ago talking about the paddle raise, and we're going to be doing another webinar here in just a couple weeks. So make sure you head to inspirehearts.com to find out more information about those upcoming educational webinars talking about the special appeal, the paddle raise, and all of those fun things. 23, we also saw live auctions evolve quite a bit. The live auctions have moved into now even more heavily curated live auction items and finding items you can't find anywhere else. Now, back in the day, you used to be able to put any item up on the live auction screen and have the live auctioneer, and they were able to sell it for, thousands and thousands of dollars. And the donors, the auction bidders were not as, again, selective about the dollars that they were spending. They're like, yeah, let's go. And then they wouldn't go to these trips. And then it was, thank you for your donation. But now what we're seeing is the auction buyers are really, really, really craving these, what I call unauctioned items, items that you can't get anywhere else except at your event. So those things are selling great. But again, they're not just buying these items just on a whim. They're not just purchasing these live auction items without having any information beforehand for them, because now here we are in the age of the cell phone and of Amazon and of having a computer in your hand and being able to Google everything at every time and finding out what these different experiences or these different trips or these airfares or these diamond rings or whatever they cost. And what ends up happening with that is now you're starting to create that transactional conversation within the auction items. And we really don't want that. And that's why you need to create items that you can't find anywhere else that are absolutely priceless. One thing that we did see in 23, that there was a growth in how you would say international travel. Italy's coming back. More people are traveling out there, but also some more exotic locations. Guam, we're seeing. Cuba is a hot ticket as well, but also Belize. We've seen some trips out to Japan, China, way deep South America, almost Antarctica, some different experiences like that. And then Norway and Iceland have been very, very hot. Well, cold, but hot. I think people want to see the Northern Lights. And those are the types of places that the donors are starting to get into. So this is a great chance to really leverage that desire for that international travel. I hopefully will be taking a international trip sometime this year. We have some airline miles that we've yet to use, and maybe it's Paris, maybe it's Ireland, maybe it's Iceland. I don't know, but we're going to be heading out somewhere. And I know that there's a lot of donors that are going to be doing that. And then with what we've seen in 23 is silent auctions are continuing to shrink. There are more what we call revenue generators that are out there, more fun ways to give, whether it's like a mystery box or a golden ticket or some different things like that that happen within. Now we're coining this in 24. It's the connection hour. No more cocktail hour. It is the connection hour, connecting your donors to the cause. All right, let's get into it. Let's talk about the 2024 predictions. And what I have with me right now, my friends, is my lovely, lovely crystal ball. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it as actually a crystal ball. If you're listening to this on the podcast, where all podcasts are listened to, you can imagine a little crystal ball that I'm looking into and I'm peering deeply into to see what our fundraising in 2024 is going to look like. And some of the things that we're seeing, especially conversations that we've had recently here, like literally in the last 5 days with clients that are looking for fundraisers, they're looking for auctioneers, they're looking for people to partner with to help them enhance their event. That I think is what's going to happen here in 2024. It's that enhancement, it's that evolution of events. Now, there's a few different ways that events are going to be evolving, creating a better experience. You know, we're always talking about creating a better event and creating a better experience for your donors. But then looking back into 23, donors are being more selective of the events they're going to. So that's why you need to continue to elevate your events. If you don't change your event, I'm sorry, it's going to die. That's right. The 6 words of death, way we've always done it, that it's not going to work anymore. Like that is out. And what we're starting to see is that there's a lot of organizations that want to change their event. They want to switch it around. They don't want the same old, same old. The donors don't want the same old, same old. So it's evolving the formats of what it was. Now, if you were having like a regular black tie gala the last 2, 3 years prior to the pandemic, we're having that same black tie gala with the boring speeches and the rubber chicken and the I need a nap after talking about it. That those are like you can make that go away, and we're starting to see more produced events. We're seeing a desire for more curated experiences within the gala event, and whether that is bringing in some super awesome entertainers, bringing in some things that you would never see, like we've seen the Firewalker, we've seen the silk dancers, the ones that are elevated from the ceiling. We've seen some motivational speakers come in and really create a very cool air within the event. But then it's really looking at and diving into your storytelling and looking at creative ways to be able to storytell, to really immerse your donors within the event, immerse them within the mission, and really help them to understand what you're doing and get them to connect even deeper to your mission. That's some of the big things that we're starting to see now. There's some other formats that are really you know, kind of starting to pop out that we're seeing, that we've been doing this a couple years over and over, and they've been very, very successful. We've seen some kind of more cocktail style, and again, like I said, cocktail is not the word that we're going for, but more of a connection style. There you go, that's a great word. More of a connection style fundraising event where it's heavy hors d'oeuvres. There's not really any assigned seating, and sometimes there's not any seating at all. It's high boy tables all around the room, and then there is a centralized stage with a big screen. Sometimes there's a couple screens, and then the program is very, very short, and it could be 15, maybe 25 minutes, and then you do the special appeal paddle raise, and that's kind of all the fundraising that's happening. And it's a very efficient, a very effective way to be doing some fundraising. And there's a lot of groups that are saying let's do this. There's some other unique, different kind of formats that we've seen this past year. There was a group called the Robert Irvine Foundation. I was so excited to be a part of their event, and they have an event called Beats and Eats, and it's all about food. It's all about chefs, but it's also about connecting the donors directly to that mission through these different experiences, and to again make it taste good, make it look good, make it feel good. It's like was really like a party. And then the special appeal paddle raise had curated a story, you know, from over the year, and had that story culminate right there on stage. And to see a reconnection of two veterans that haven't seen each other in 10 years, and like think about how cool that feels, and the goosebumps that the audience got. And that's that golden goosebump moment that we're always talking about. So you should be looking into the stories that you had in 2023. Look at those success stories, look at those hero stories, and then think of creative ways that you could tell that story or have that story really come to life on stage, come to life in video, or come to life in a combination of all of that, creating a multimedia experience. And it is these evolutions of these formats of events that is bringing that freshness in, is bringing that newness to the event. And donors that might have been attending your event for many, many years, they're going to be pleasantly surprised. They're going to be like, this isn't like anything we've seen before. And then for those new guests and new donors that you have coming into the room, they're going to be like, wow, this organization, they really spent a lot of time and energy and invested into this great experience that they want to give us. And when a donor is feeling that, then they're like, hey, I'm connected to this organization and I absolutely love this. There was a quote that I had heard back in 2023. I mean, all the way back there, like 5 or 6 days. But someone had said that it's not our job as fundraisers, as you know, me as a professional fundraiser, you as a professional in development or nonprofits, or maybe even if you are a volunteer or someone that is helping to organize these events, that it's not our job to make people care about your mission. No, it's our job is to help find individuals that have alignment with your mission, that their own affinity goals, their own legacy goals that they have internally are connected to what your goals and what your mission and what your impact is. And when you make that connection, then amazing things happen. Because that's another thing that we're starting to see now is donors are being, again, very specific about the organizations and the events that they're attending, but they're also being very specific about what those missions and what the impact is that those organizations are having, and whether that aligns with their, again, their affinity with, the legacy that they want to leave into the world. Now maybe they have a soft spot. We just had a friend of ours just be diagnosed with cancer, and she's been going through treatment, has been helped by a nonprofit, and we love that nonprofit even more because of the great stuff that they're helping with individuals that are going through that cancer journey. I mean, it might be a private school, it might be an animal sanctuary, it might be a land trust, it might be a church, it might be anything like that. But it's the connection of the guest to your mission, of the guest who then can make a donation to, again, transform them into a donor. And that's transformation is really the key component of 2024 is what we're seeing now. Again, with these new format of events that we're seeing, giving's going to look a lot different here in 2024. We're starting to see, well, I mean, we've seen for many, many years the success of the special appeal paddle raise, but there are individuals and that have yet to see this happen. I mean, I talk to nonprofit professionals all the time that are organizing events, and they're saying, we've never done a paddle raise. We've never done a fund a need. We've never done a special appeal. Show us how to do it. And we do show them how to do it, and they are completely amazed. There was a few organizations that we were able to work with last year that had never had done a special appeal, and we were able to help them with that and create that experience, that collective giving experience that happens in the room. And paddles were up, and they were raising a lot of money. And then at the end, we had the leadership within the nonprofit run up to us and say, oh my gosh, I had no idea that we could raise that much money in that short amount of time. And then what ends up happening then is then they start to go back in the years that they were not doing the special appeal battle raise, and then they start to calculate the missed opportunities that they have. Don't do that. It hurts. I mean, maybe ponder it for just a second, but here in 24, we're looking into the future, we're looking forward, and we're finding ways to help create opportunities for guests and donors to give in a more efficient and effective and more impactful manner. And it's those organizations that kind of dabbled a little bit in the special appeal, they kind of dabbled a little bit in the fund a need, they maybe tried the paddle raise, or maybe they tried technology giving with the phones and one of the many tech platforms that are out there, and they saw success in it. And now they're like, you know what? If we leaned into this a little bit more, and we used actual paddles, and we used a professional fundraising MC slash auctioneer, and we used a highly produced storytelling opportunity, as well as creating that unique experience that's out there, they're going to see some huge returns on those investments that they're making. There's some other opportunities that are happening with the special appeal. We're seeing a lot more matching gifts happen within that, and an audience loves a matching gift challenge. That we one of our last events, we had someone pop up out of nowhere and say, "I'm going to match the next $10,000 that's raised," and then we looked out into the audience and said, "Friends, here it is. It's on the table. Let's do this. Is there someone that wants to give a $10,000 donation?" Or maybe two people that want to give 5,000, or could we just get 10 people right now, and you raise your paddles at the $1,000 level, and together we could collectively raise $20,000. And what that does is there's these donors that are understanding the leverage that they have with the gift that they want to make. Now, there are those donors that do like to give anonymously, they like to give behind the scenes. They're very humble within that, and there's those personalities that are out there in the world, and we love them, and we want them to be involved in your event to bring that energy and to bring that passion. But they're not going to raise a paddle or make a gift on the phone no matter what. But then there's those that are in the audience that do want to give openly. They do want to help build that momentum and build that energy and to get those paddles in the air, because when that happens, then there's more paddles in the air, and they're starting to understand that what happens when a community comes together and creates this collective giving experience that the special appeal really is. But they're seeing how they could leverage that gift, and there's some corporate matches that are going out there, not only just for the individuals that work for them that they're matching, but they're also matching funding and fundraising that are happening at these events, or maybe a portion of fundraising that's happening throughout the year. And this is a great way to really bring those corporate sponsors, those corporate partners that you have, quite a bit closer to your fundraising and your fundraising event, is giving this unique challenge match opportunity, in which now we're going to say corporation XYZ is going to match all of the donations at the $100 level, or corporation ZXY is going to match all of the donations up to 50,000, or they're going to match the next 20 donations or something like that. There's lots of different ways that you can do that, but it is the opportunity to leverage the gift, because when you have a very smart donor, a very smart nonprofit investor, and they're like, "Well, I could give you 10,000, and you could do whatever you could do with 10,000 to make the impact in the world. But if I give you 10,000, we can use that to encourage 10 new donors to come out of the woodwork, then we're going to raise 20,000. It's going to make that donor that is making that challenge match feel as if they gave double the amount than the check that they actually wrote." But now donors are starting to become more savvy and more understanding of what the fundraising process is, that it's all about growing your community, it's all about growing your donor base. And many times they understand that, like, look, if we can get new people to come into the fold, then those dollars that are being raised by new donors, by new individuals coming to be a part of the donor community, that the potential growth of income, or the potential growth of fundraising from those individuals can be exponentially bigger than what that leverage donors, what their gift can be, and are understanding that and are being very smart about that. So we're going to see a lot more opportunities coming in with the matching funds as well. And then we're also going to see some gamify of the special appeal. Gamifying, we like to call it incentive giving, or incentivized giving. And there's going to be great opportunities that are there. We've saw some special appeals, some different paddle raises that did include that in 2023. There's one that had actually two incentivized giving opportunities in their special appeal, in which at the $5,000 level, all of the donors were then entered into a drawing or a giveaway, that they were going to award one of the donors a very special dinner for eight at one of the best steakhouses in the world, which I love. And if you want to know about it, send me a message. I'll let you know where it is. And it did bring out a couple new donors than that they had in previous years, so their engagement rate at the $5,000 level was much higher. And then they also included an incentivized giving at the $1,000 level, and that did move some of the donors up the ladder. And maybe those donors were first time donors, or maybe they had given at a lower level in previous years. But what we're seeing is the $1,000 level is like the new $100 level. I know inflation has been a bitch for everybody costs are going through the roof. The value of the dollar is dropping, and people understand that, and they see that they need to raise kind of that standard level of giving of what it was. So the $1,000 level is an easy level to give at. It's kind of the new $100 bill, the $1,000 check. But then being able to incentivize that everyone that makes a donation of $1,000 is going to win a trip to, or a dinner with, or some type of token of giving. We don't know, but there's ways that you can really incentivize that. We've also are starting to see again more of that gamification where there is a bit of competition within the tables, and the tables that are making 100% giving at their table, everyone at the table is raising their paddle, then that table could be entered in to a drawing. We've seen some success where we have presented that table with 100% participation with a tray of champagne, and they really love that. And then really recognizing that, putting a different colored spotlight on them. Some organizations will take a and put a very special centerpiece at those 100% giving, but it's really creating that challenge, or that kind of that gamification within the special appeal. And friends, it's thinking outside of the box, and you as nonprofit professionals or event coordinators, you're always having to do that. And now it's looking at the actual fundraising and working with your vendors. I like to call them the top 5 vendors that you have to have. Obviously, you have to have a venue, you have to have a place to hold that. You also have to have a way that your guests can hear and see and really absorb that storytelling that's at the event. So your AV is going to be a really big key component to that. You're also going to have your event planner that's there to help you kind of organize all of these components that are within that. And then you have your fundraising ambassador, your fundraising MC, your fundraising auctioneer, and consultant to be able to expose you to new ideas that are happening in the marketplace. Now, I'm very, very proud to be a colleague of hundreds of fundraising auctioneers and MCs across the nation, actually providing some coaching and mentoring for them. So I really have my finger on the pulse of what's happening. My partner, my wife, Erin, is always communicating with different nonprofit professionals and a lot of our colleagues, and seeing what's fresh and what's new and what's out there, because you could go to events in your own hometown and see something new that's going to happen, but there could have been donors that were at that event that saw that happen, and then they're at your event and they're like, oh, I was at that event last week and they did that, I know what that's like. Whereas you could get some ideas that are happening. I mean, we're here in New York City, that we're seeing events in Seattle, in Portland, in Los Angeles, in San Francisco, in Denver, in it's got to be west of here because we're the furthest east. But they're seeing different things that are they're happening there, and we're able to bring those ideas and bring some of those elements here to a new market, and really kind of wow and pizzazz your donors that are there. And that's again rewinding back to the beginning of this conversation, is that your donors, they want to be wowed, they want to be inspired, they want to be motivated to be able to give. And you have to do that, and you really have to up the level of that storytelling, up the level of the production, up the level of the entire donor experience. I did forget one of the top 5 vendors that you have to have. It's also your logistics/technology registration system. You have to have one of those. There's still organizations out there that are like, no, we'll just track it with Excel and then we'll have them fill out the card at the end of the night with their credit. And they don't do that. Friends, donors are not doing that. And with all of this crazy credit card fraud that's going out there in the world, that your donors want to know that the system, process, logistics that you have is PCI compliant, is up to date, and is safe for them to be able to put their credit card on file, and then for you to accept that donation through that. So that's again the top 5: the venue, the AV, the fundraising MC, your event planner, and as well as your technology logistics system that you need to have. And checking all those boxes off, again elevating the experience, transforming your event, and bringing it to something to a different level than what you've seen in the past. And for organizations and especially individuals like yourself that are listening and watching, it's you all that are taking the risk to try something new, to really elevate that experience. And yes, it is risky, and yes, it is scary to try something new, and yes, sometimes it costs money to do that, or it costs more money to do that. But if you're doing this smartly, and if you're doing this intentionally, and you're working with great vendors, and you're working with people that have experience within this realm, and they do lots of galas, and they work with lots of great venues, and they have great big networks and are able to help you mitigate these risks, why not? Why not? I mean, the only way that change happens in the world is if somebody changed something. And different events are going to look different to different communities, and it's really keeping that forward vision, that mindset of prosperity, of abundance going forward, versus kind of like what used to be. It's like, oh no, we need to get everything for free. Oh no, we can't spend any money on that. Or oh no, the budget doesn't include that. Well, if you're hearing that, or maybe you're even saying that yourself, maybe you got to look back at that budget and be like, is this realistic? Or is this the budget that we had from 5 years ago? Which, again, back to inflation, that those prices of everything has gone up. So guess what? Your budget needs to go up. And with that budget going up, and by working with great professionals, you are going to really help to, again, mitigate those risks and set yourselves up for success. So that's what we're seeing into our crystal ball. And as we are now into season 3, can you believe it? Season 3 here of the Heart of the Gala podcast. I look back at the accomplishments that we at Inspire Hearts were able to have happen to last year, and launching this podcast was a big thing for it. And we've seen great responses. We've seen great comments and questions that are coming out from the community. And that gives us this opportunity to share the information that we have with you, our nonprofit professionals, with you, our event coordinators, event planners. Maybe you sit on a school board, or maybe you sit on a parent teacher association, or maybe are just in love with an organization. You want to help them have a great event, and you want to be able to look into that crystal ball and see, here, this is how we're going to change some things this year, and this is how we're going to take a couple risks. We're going to kind of jump off the cliff a little bit, but your parachute's not going to open unless you jump. So, friends, this is the time. This is the time to be able to do that. And let's do that together. Speaking of launching of the podcast and celebrating our 1 year anniversary on Valentine's Day, because we're Inspire Hearts. That's right. We love you. Tattoo on my wrist. Aaron's got a matching one as well. That we are going to have another live stream event with some very special guests that are going to be coming on February 14th, 2024. You got to show up. You got to be there. It's going to be amazing. Also, we are excited to announce that at the end of February, we're also going to be hosting a workshop for nonprofits to enhance their galas in New York City. And with that, we might be announcing some more dates across the country as well. So we're excited to talk about that and help organize that. And again, to continually elevating this process, or this science, this art of event fundraising, and really continue to pushing the envelope within that. And if you're out there and you're listening, you're like, yeah, Bobby D, you're on point. You are saying all the right things, everything that I want to hear, and you want some help with that, please don't hesitate to reach out. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you. And if we can't help you directly, but we could help you indirectly by, pointing you in the direction of some resources, or sharing some new ideas that you might not have heard before, or even making some connections with some vendors that are in our community across this nation, then we are directly helping you. We are directly impacting your mission and impacting your event. And that's what our mission is we want to help you have better events. We want you to raise more money. And with that money, we want you to help impact and change the world in a more effective way. And it's you that's listening and watching that are the ones that are doing that, because you're investing your time with us. You're investing your open-mindedness with this, and that opportunity to be able to try something new. So I want to congratulate you for joining us. And again, this is episode 1 of season 3, and we've got some great stuff coming on. But yes, follow us. Follow my wife right there, Gala Auctioneer. You can follow us on Star Auctions. You can follow us at Bobby D Auctioneer. That's right. Good stuff coming out on Instagram right there. Inspirational posts as well as I Inspire Hearts. We're going to be really blowing that up this year. And then follow us, a couple of auctioneers on TikTok. We've got some fun videos coming up about that. So follow us on TikTok there. You can visit us online, inspirehearts.com. Follow us here on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell, do those things. If you're listening on to any one of the podcast platforms, please share your reviews with us. Of course, we love a 5-star review, and we really aim for 5-star performance and information that we're bringing to you. And if we are providing value, just please leave us that review and then share it with your nonprofit network and as well, and be like, hey, there's this podcast that's out there that's dedicated to gala and event fundraising, and they're speaking the truth. They're preaching the word of how we can raise more money at fundraising events. Well, I want to thank you again. My name is Bobby D with Heart of the Gala podcast. Friends, keep going out there. Keep aspiring to inspire donors to help you impact the world in a much bigger and better way. And keep having better events. You can do better. I know you can do it. We want to do better, and we want to help you do better. So thanks again, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you next time on Heart of the Gala podcast.